Hello, welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, Director of Sales for Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, really
Was that
good.
too much, Chris? Was that too much? Too much, Rob
Rob.
Bona Training? I know he doesn't like me coming in that hot sometimes.
Too hot?
Yeah, too hot.
I think we can work it out. Well, I know why you're excited. We have a new machine, huh?
Oh, yes. We have a new machine.
I remember years ago, you were using a machine, and the new one is built on the same platform and everything, right? Is this one the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
everybody knows I constantly rave about our Bona Belt HD. Because I purchased one back in the late 90s, the same type of model.
Mhm.
And I heard that they want to make improvements to it. And I was like, it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why would we change your haircut or the way you wear your beard or anything like that? It's perfect.
Well,
Why make any changes,
I don't know
right?
if okay, that comparison's a good one, but yeah, okay. Yeah, you liked it just the way it was.
It was perfect the way it was. And I know we're constantly tweaking things, and we're always tweaking things at Bona and making it better, right?
Yeah.
Even if you look at our good, better, best, that's completely changed from 6 years ago,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Our good,
Yep.
better, best 6 years ago was Novia, Mega, Traffic.
Yep.
Now our good, better, best is
Domo.
Domo.
Whispered it to you.
Thank you. Boy, I'm really starting
I
to
said-
show my age. Domo, Mega 1, and Traffic HD.
Yep.
All awesome upgrades. I couldn't have been more wrong. But we're going to find out over the course of the next two shows. I'm wrong about a lot of things. Now that I'm finding stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We could write an entire book on things Rob has been wrong about. So I finally. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think what Bona learned out of the Power Drive is that you come out with a machine that is like just put everything into that machine and make sure that that thing is just everything that we would want, and that's kind of the model now for machines for us, right? Going forward is to
Right.
just when we build something, just don't hold anything back. If we think
Don't
there's a
throw it
way
in the
we can
closet.
improve it,
Right.
yeah, just make it better. So
Yeah.
that was a pretty good. That's a high bar to hit now, and but that's the bar, and that's when we come out with this. I thought, no, man, let them go. It's gonna be cool. See what they come out with. So
Yeah. Look at all the improvements they made to that. They were huge improvements too. The steel plates, the weight kit, the wire brush kit, the diamond plates. Look at
yeah,
all the improvements that we keep making to that machine,
mhm.
So that's it. Next time Bona says, yeah, we're going to make some improvements on it, I'm just going to smile and nod my head and say,
Roll with
can't
it.
wait to see what happens. Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of new improvements, what new improvement did they make on that machine, Rob?
Well, right off the bat, I know a lot of people at the schools who are trying the old model were like, oh, this really needs a trap dolly. And, today's market, you got to have a travel dolly, I think. Back of the old machines you and I used of steel wheels, you could tow them behind the truck,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They were
Yep.
just kind of indestructible.
Hmm.
So right off the bat, now they have a travel dolly. The thing too about the travel dolly is I ran it both ways with the travel dolly on and with it off. Really doesn't get in the way, not at all.
Okay. Okay.
So, and if you think it's in your way, it's very easy to come off and onto. It's just two bolts.
Yeah.
But in today's world, in and
Yeah.
up and down stairs and everything, you got to have one.
It just makes life so much easier, I think. Yeah. So that's cool. And
Yeah,
it
you're
really
not
doesn't.
constantly worrying about your wheels and cleaning your wheels and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really doesn't get in the way. I mean, I don't. Maybe there's some circumstance you may want to take it up, but I don't know, man. I think I'd probably mostly all leave it on.
Well, the other thing I noticed, even with it on, what I was looking for was to see if it was going to throw anything off. Was it going to
Mm.
throw the balance off? Was it going to take head pressure away?
Yeah.
And it's not, because the machine is just so perfectly balanced. But we'll get into that. But that was one. That's always something that I'm worried about with travel dollies. You know, are they going to get in the way? Are they going to, put too much weight or something and throw the balance off? But this one doesn't, not at all.
Okay.
And like I said,
Cool.
I ran it both ways, and you really couldn't tell a difference.
Nice. All right. Speaking of the pressure settings or whatever, is there any changes to the pressure settings on the machine, or is that staying the same?
Well, a lot of complaints on the old machine on the pressure settings was you had to know to dial it clockwise and dial it counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Okay, clockwise was taking pressure off, counterclockwise was putting pressure on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, and that was it. There was no markings or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So once you started to get a feel for the machine, it wasn't a big deal, but there was a lot of people that would get confused, and especially at schools where they haven't used it before.
Yeah.
So now the pressure setting handle it's in a better place. You can see it, but it's also got markings on high and low pressure. So now you can
Okay.
really, start to turn it in and out and not have to worry about, well, what was it again? Clockwise,
Right. Right.
counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Once you got a feel for it, it wasn't a big deal. But, I definitely see the advantage of putting
Yeah.
the markings on, but also putting it in a different place. So it's just kind of easier to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. The righty tighty, lefty loosey thing is sometimes hard to grasp. But anybody has that machine. I mean, once you get used to dialing that in, you kind of know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you use it at school one time, you're not familiar with it. I can see where you would go. I'm not sure if it goes in or it's out or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now it's very, very easy to see them.
Yeah, it's written right on the handle. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
beautiful. Right on, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. Another thing that I found this kind of by mistake. I just kind of flipped the machine over and I was looking at stuff and putting it together when we took it out of the box. And I've always raved about the balance of our machine, and the balance to me is when you're going from forward to backwards. That
Yep.
transition when you start going backwards, how a lot of machines have a hitch one way or the other,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Before that wheel turns around. Yeah.
Yeah, before that wheel turns around, at some machines you actually have to cock it
Hmm.
before you pull it back, or you're going to get that hitch, which,
Yeah.
is a mark in the floor.
Yeah.
Um, so our rear wheel has a kind of a spring assist. Those jackknives that are, they're easy open.
Yeah.
What I mean? You can
Yep.
flip them. It's not a switchblade, but it's
Right. Right. I
kind
know
of I
exactly.
think they call it spring assist or open assist or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, our wheel has that. So as soon as you start to make that move, that spring assist really brings that thing around. And like, I didn't think they could make any more improvements to the balance of the machine. I was like, man, this is just
Yeah.
brilliant. I hate even talking about it because all the machine manufacturers out there are going to go, oh,
Mm.
oh, huh.
Did you ever have a switchblade when you were a kid?
No, the only switchblades I ever had were the kinds we used to make popsicle sticks. Did you ever make those popsicle stick
That's
switchblades?
starting to come back to me.
You
I
you
think
took like 3 or 4 popsicle sticks, a bunch of
a rubber band.
rubber
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You're
Yeah.
a pretty dangerous dude.
Oh, you could get that thing pretty sharp.
I always wanted one when I was a kid, but they always all the movies, the tough guys movies had a switchblade, but then no, I never had one. I probably hurt myself with it if I did.
I was working in Michigan a couple years back, and I'm talking to some guy, and he pulls out a knife. He was showing me his knife, but it was a switchblade.
Hmm.
And I was like, geez.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, but
Yeah.
hope you don't get
Now,
caught with that. And he goes, no, they're legal.
wow.
I
I
said, what?
remember.
Yeah, Michigan, they're legal.
Hmm.
So I laid burn marks out of the parking lot going to a store. I went to a couple different places and I finally found them.
Hmm.
Yeah, didn't buy it though.
No.
Yeah, they were like $300.
Well,
Four
I was
hundred
gonna
bucks.
you were like the baddest dude around if you had a switchblade and the brass knuckles. I mean, that's just a recipe for going to prison when you're a kid. I've seen one set of them in my life, I think. And I thought, no, well, it's just going to get you in trouble. Why would you even have them? That's like, if you're a hammer, everything is a nail, right?
Right.
So you're just waiting for something to happen. All right, not to get you off track.
No,
Brass knuckles and switchblade
brass
knives.
knuckles, switchblades, all goes hand in hand with this new machine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Feather handle. Anything on the feather handle?
Um, the feather handle on this one is, and I've used every machine out there, and I'm not just saying this because it's our machine. Okay. And everybody who knows me knows that I wouldn't BS you about this.
Mhm.
Now, our old machine, the machine that I loved, I thought the biggest downfall to our old machine
Mhm.
was our feather handle. And there was a lot of people who agreed with me on that. It's like this machine has everything, but man, the feather handle sucks.
Yeah, I would agree. You got used to it, but that to me was the one thing that they could make an improvement on. I was hoping it'd be that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they made some serious improvements to it. Even compared to our other 10-inch belt machine, that feather handle, if you're just grasping one handle and then
Hmm.
use a feather handle, you can lock your hand into it. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
It'll bump into it kind of. It's like
Hmm.
there isn't enough clearance.
Yep.
Well, the people who made the improvements heard us on that, and that feather handle now, plenty of room so you can grasp on one side and
Hmm.
feather on the other. But the thing that I like about it, and they sent me this machine, I think they sent me this machine 2 years ago with all the improvements on it. And because I was talking to the guys and they said, yeah, we're going to have one. I go, oh, why don't you send it to me? And he goes, well, we were going to send it to, this guy. And I go, he's a Hummel guy.
Hmm.
How's he going to tell you if the improvements are any good if he's running a Hummel? He can
Yep.
tell you if he likes the machine or not. But
Yep.
so they sent it out to me and I ran it for a while. Bum ran it for a couple weeks. Peter ran it for a couple weeks. And man, that was just one of the great things about it was that new feather handle.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
Plenty of clearance, but the thing that I liked about it when I was running it is you can switch off. You know what I mean? You can
Yep.
you can you can switch, and now you're not going to get jammed up with carpal or whatever they call
Yeah.
it.
Corporal tunnel syndrome.
Corporal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Um. Is it?
The
Is
other
it?
thing too with that handle, with that feather handle, it's also adjusting. You can adjust it. You know what I mean for how
Okay.
big a swing that you want.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and since we're there, I the thing that I couldn't believe was there's probably 2 to 3 inches of height adjustment to the handle also.
Oh, okay.
So
For big
I
guys.
I I really played around with that, because I was there before the school started. I was there a day early, just putting some cords together and putting the machine together and everything. So I really started playing with that height adjustment. Well, I started playing with the whole thing.
Mhm.
And Wayne, I can't wait to see you try it and get the height where you want it
Yeah.
because it is a whole different feeling as far
Wow.
as stress on your back. If you're not wearing an operator belt,
Yep.
the stress on your back from pulling and everything.
Mm.
And the difference of pulling when you can raise that handle or set that handle for, for your own height,
Yep.
it's unbelievable.
Well, especially running it all day long, you want to be comfortable,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to have to fight that back wheel. You want to have to fight the pressure settings. You don't want to have to fight that type of stuff. So no, that's good. Good to hear.
So I had two guys who were really, really interested in it at the school. So I spent a little time with them. I'm going, don't just try it the way I set it up. Let's
Yeah.
set it up for you.
Yep.
Run it the way it's set now, and then let's kind of, build this machine to fit you, your hand, your height,
Right.
all that
Right.
stuff. And man, when you start really dialing it in, the one guy was looking at me like, this is insane. He goes, it's
Wow.
like there's no pressure, but it's cutting like mad. I go,
Wow.
yeah, I never would have thought that the stress of running the drum was really had so much to do with the height of the handle.
What I liked about the other one was the line of sight.
Sight lines are identical. It really is, the same chassis, the same motor. They just made some tweaks to it, but didn't
Okay.
change the overall. It still looks like a Camaro. It's
Okay.
a Camaro, but it still looks like a Camaro.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know why I said Camaro. I had a Chevelle growing up.
You can't
Not
go
a
wrong with either
Camaro, but I
one.
don't know why I said Camaro. I don't know why it popped in my head.
Huh. Plastic. That's why.
I should have never got rid of that car.
Oh, you had a Camaro?
No, I had a Chevelle.
Chevelle.
67 Chevelle.
Yeah, man, that was the one.
Oh.
67 through 69. There were beauties.
Had hood scoops, gray.
Oh, you had the hood scoops?
I had hood scoops on it. I put them on there. I
Yeah.
just drilled some holes in there and popped the hood scoops on.
Oh, nice.
Got them at a junkyard for $20.
Beautiful.
For two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Shoot, man.
Yeah.
I get-
Now, we had an old tire guy in town who used to sell us all the, hot rodders, tires, mag wheels,
Yep.
right? And everything was used that this guy, new Krager mag wheels were
Yeah. Expensive.
astronomical, So I'm down poking through his shop one day and he goes, oh, I just got a new set of Kragers in. Krager mags. And I was kind of looking for Krager mags. So he said, yeah, they're right here. And I'm like, oh, beautiful. I thought, oh, nobody knows about them. So I'm
Yeah.
first in. But he only had two.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he only had two. So I'm thinking, well, I'll put them on the back.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I got two Keystones here. Remember Keystone mag
Yeah.
wheels?
Yeah.
So he had two Keystones and two Krager. So I go, well, I'll put the Kragers on the back and the Keystones on the front. And he goes, no. Put the Keystones on one side and Kragers on the other.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Even thinking about mixing those up was insane, but do it on the two different sides is crazy.
Two different sides. Yes. That's what I had. I even wrote a name on the car, on the door. I wrote, or not on the door, but over my driver's side, like a NASCAR would write his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote a gray ghost. It was the gray ghost because it was primer gray.
Wow.
Dude, I was such a hot rodder back in the day.
No kidding. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But isn't that a great idea? Kragers on one side, Keystones on the other.
I'd do all or
Complete
nothing, man.
Match. What's that?
I'd do all or nothing. Yeah, I'd do all or nothing. You know what? You know what those rats are now? Those, what they call them, rat cars or rat rods or whatever they are, where they're just like totally junked out hot rods. You ever see any of those?
No.
Like Mad Max looking cars. I mean, they're like just intentionally, like really just like they just drove out of a junkyard.
Really?
That's a thing now. I love them, man. I think they look cool. I bet if you
Rat cars.
start Google those and look those up,
I'm
you'll
gonna.
see some. Yeah,
You might see a picture of me.
rat rods or something. I think they're cool, man.
Something that they didn't change, which I was just, pretty psyched about because there was really no reason to change this. There is no machine in the industry that tracks as well as our machine.
Yep.
No machine. Absolutely. I will put us up against anybody, anytime. the tracking on this, and they didn't change a thing with the tracking because I think everybody knew that that really is perfection. There's
Yeah.
just no reason to. And one of the big things, I think the biggest difference between our machine and a lot of other machines out there is, if you notice, all our adjustments and springs and all that stuff that controls your upper roller assembly
Yep.
is all on the outside of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on the inside. Those roller assembly and the hardware and everything that's on the inside, those springs start to get jammed up with dust.
Sawdust and everything, or dust.
And then they just don't track well. You know what I mean? Where all of our stuff is on the outside of the machine.
Yep. Easy to blow them off and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with dust control,
Mm-hmm.
there's never anything really to blow off. It's crazy.
Nice. I'll tell you what, I do think they hit it out of the park on this, because the tech and training guys brought over for me to have a look at. We went through the whole machine. We ran the machine, and like you said, the balance is beautiful. It's beautiful. And what I really look is when they what I like is when they said, all right, we're gonna make some improvements, and the bar now is the power drive. You know, let's just make this as kick as we can. Just make a great solid machine. Everybody, we got some stud floor guys. Put your heads together. What do you want in a machine? What would you like in a machine? What do you like about this, that, and the other? And I think they did a great job. It took a long time. I mean, nothing happens as fast as we want it to happen. But I think they killed it on this one.
Yeah. Another improvement they made too is, before, if your footprint was off, you had to flip the machine over.
Mm-hmm.
And, you had that funky little tool to help you adjust the wheels so they were both flat, so you get a flat cut. Now it's right there on the side. You don't have to flip the machine over or anything. You just loosen a lock nut, crank it up and down, move it whichever way you got to go, and then crank it back down. It's so much easier. So much easier. Yeah. That was another great thing, and I think most machines come with this, though. But with all the different wrenches and Allen wrenches and stuff that you need to make adjustments to the machine, it's all right in a pouch that's right there secured to the motor. So it's right there. Everything you're going to need. You're not going to go have to be fishing around for tools or anything like that.
Yep. Did you ever use a cord holder when you sanded floors?
You know what's funny? Yeah, we did. My dad was a big stickler for using the cord holder. And I know a lot of guys throw it around their neck, and a guy at the school who was really interested in the machine. Matter of fact, he said, "Hey, do you mind if I take it over there and just work it somewhere?" I go, "No, definitely."
Yeah.
But he had said to me, because I go, "You're gonna love the cord holder," and he looked at me and made this face, and he goes, "They all suck. I don't use a cord holder."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Listen to me. You're gonna want to use this cord holder." And even when I wrote the report for product management about what I thought about the machine, I go, "We're going to sell the machine just because we got now the best cord holder in the business." So they all kind of laughed at me. And I told this guy, I said, "Listen, I want you to run it with the cord holder, because our cord holder also holds the hose without adding any length to it."
Okay.
It's unbelievable. You would think if you need something to hold your cord and hose, right, the cord holder is going to be 3 feet long.
Yeah.
This is just a normal size cord holder, but and when you look at it, you're like, "What the hell is this corkscrew crazy looking thing?"
Mm-hmm.
And then all I said to the guy was, "Do me a favor, take 5 seconds or, whatever, how much time, set the vac up and the cord and the hose so you're working away from it.
Yeah.
And then tell me that this cord holder isn't the greatest one you ever used." So he did it for a while. He just looks over at me and shakes his head like, "Oh, you suck." It's going to get copied. I know it, because it's just so simple.
I used to zip tie every 3 feet my cord and the hose together. And I never did like any cord holders I ever get along with. So honestly, I didn't try it on ours. I just threw the belt, the cord behind me, and I ran it with a bag the whole time we ran it, just because I only had a day and whatever to set it up and fool around with it. So that's
Uh-huh.
cool, man.
Uh, what else did they do to it? They kept the dual speed pulley system,
Yep, saw that.
which is just great. And I mean, most of the time when I'm running the machine, I'm always in full speed. But I did notice, up here, every now and then we get into these 80 or 100-year-old maple floors because there's a lot of maple in upstate.
Yep.
And, sometimes those old maple floors are they're almost like petrified.
Hmm.
And if you're trying to do a fine cut, your 80 cut, it's
Yeah.
just leaving burn marks everywhere. It's just burnishing like crazy.
Hmm.
And having the opportunity to you can back your pressure down, but also I found backing the speed down, I can keep the same pressure, but just not as fast. Because when you go to the other pulley, you can drop it about 200 RPM.
Okay.
So by dropping it 200 RPM, a lot of times that was just
Yeah.
what I needed to stop the high speed burnishing.
Yep. Yep. Good call. Well, I'm stoked about it, man. And we have them in inventory now. We have them over here, and so we'll start seeing them more and more out in the market. And pretty cool. I've been, it's been one that's been in the hopper for a while now. So I'm glad to see them back.
A couple other things. As soon as you take it out of the box, it's ready for DCS hookup.
Okay.
Where the old machine we used to have to heat weld that
Yeah.
rubber
Yeah.
steel thing on. Now it's completely
Ready.
ready. Yep. It's 30 amp, 5 horsepower, 188 pounds.
How does it break down?
It can break down into 3 pieces.
Okay.
Handle, chassis, motor. Usually Pete and Bum, when they're breaking the machine down, they just break down, take the motor off, and leave the handle and the chassis together. But if need be, you can break it down, and it breaks down so quick and easy. I mean, it's really just loosen up a couple things, drop the motor, and pop the belts off. It's literally that quick.
Sweet.
And what is it? What's everything Bona's trying to tell everybody? It's Green Guard certified.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
Green Guard certified.
Having this hooked up to our vacuum system, we put HEPA filters on that, on our vacuums and whatever, and run this thing is just another tool. When you're bidding that job is what it is. To be able to say, I use Green Guard Gold, or Green Guard certified machines. I use Green Guard Gold adhesive, Green Guard finishes. I mean, holy smokes. It's you got the whole shooting match.
Too many people think that Green Guard is just the vapors,
Mm-hmm.
where it's our manufacturing facilities. What are we doing to the environment?
Yeah.
At our manufacturing facilities, our plants, things like that. So, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Just another thing to go with, the Green Guard message that we're trying to get out there.
Well, when they come to the factories and they're measuring the groundwater and checking the groundwater and everything else, and everything that you do from start to finish in the factory, third party certification is a big deal. We take it seriously. So might as well use it as a sales tool.
Have you been to the new training center in Charlotte?
I have, yeah.
Since it's been done?
Fantastic.
I just got to give a shout out to everybody involved.
Yep.
You had Larry Nicholson, Mark Raymond, Robbie Smith, Martin Sabalas.
Yep.
I mean, I called Martin at the end of the school and I said, this should be, going forward, this training center should be the blueprint for all Bona training centers from here on out.
Yeah, they took a lot of pride in that place.
Those 4 guys did such an amazing job on putting it together, but also put some thought behind the layout.
Hmm.
Now, I took some pictures, and even the 3-foot high walls, really good practice for people for coding and everything like that. But even where they put the doorways, one of the things that I love talking about is you don't just walk into a room and start sanding, you know, especially with a big machine.
Yep.
Where are the sight lines? Where's the doorways? Where's the windows? Well, they put 2 doorways in different sections in each of the 4 main panels. But I mean, it was perfect. All the
Yeah.
things that we're talking about. So at one point, a crew was about to start coding, and I saw where they were setting up. So I just kind of walked over and said, "So this is which way you guys going?" And he goes, "Well, we're going to start here and go that way." I go, "Yeah." I go, so I'm looking at 2 doorways. What would be the easier one to get out of? And they kind of looked at each other and they said, "Oh, yeah." I go,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
There you go.
yeah." I go, "That you got to be looking, man.
Mhm.
You got to be looking at everything."
Well, it's a real life scenario, which is kind of cool, rather than just a panel. So you
Yeah.
have to do some thinking, and you can't step over the walls, and you got to do the edges properly and everything. And so yeah, sight lines comes into play. So no, that's cool, man. And those guys are pretty proud of that.
They really should be. I really can't say enough about what a pleasure it was to do a training there, how comfortable it was, the layout, but it even I don't know, probably the powers that my boss won't be crazy to hear something like this, but I had to I could do less PowerPoint
Hmm.
by sitting in the classroom because these little 3-foot high walls, all of a
Yeah.
sudden I could just call everybody over.
Yeah.
And when you're doing PowerPoint, you're talking about sandpaper or this or that.
Yep.
That's okay. That's cool to do that in the classroom when you have to. But here I could do PowerPoint standing right out there on the panel.
Yep.
Mark brought me a little easel, so I'm doing my easel stuff, my artwork that everybody loves, right?
Nice. Nice. Nice.
But I'll tell you, that training center, the guy who came up to me and said, "Hey, do you think I could maybe get a little more?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, absolutely." There's a whole section behind the 4 main panels. That's a really huge section where, at one point the guy said, "Can I get some more time on the machine?" So I
Yeah.
could send him over there without disrupting what everybody else was doing.
Nice.
I could keep everybody working on the panels, and I said, "Hey, raise your hand if you have never run a buffer before." So I had like 4 or 5 guys raise their hand. I said, "All right, come with me. We're gonna go back to it's like a practice area."
Yeah.
Mark did all his adhesives back there where we could
Nice.
keep people going on the panels, but also, that practice area. I mean, the layout on this thing, even to where the hookups are and everything. So, really nothing's in your way. There's walkways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going forward. That's definitely our blueprint.
Awesome.
Definitely. And it's really, really nice industrial park, plenty of park. I mean, it's just perfect.
Awesome. Good stuff, man.
I know Jeremiah's going to be upset,
Well, Jared's got a
he
pretty sweet one too, man.
if he hear, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
his is awesome.
well, he set the standard
Yeah,
with his,
yeah,
and now
yeah.
everybody's standing on his shoulders. But he was
Mhm.
his trainer was,
Yeah, fantastic.
yeah,
Very cool.
and they kind of took his concept and just kind of put walls up.
Yeah, that's
You know
what it
what I
looked
mean?
like when I saw it. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So it's like, how can we outdo Jeremiah?
Hmm.
So,
No, there you go.
but Jeremiah's got an amazing place too.
Well, he does, and it's in Nashville,
It's
which
in
is
Nashville.
pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, thank you, Rob. I'm super excited about the machine. Do we have stuff online about it yet?
I'm pretty sure it's all up there. Yep.
Okay, should be
Because
on
I
the
know
website.
it's out in distributors now also.
Distributors have it. You reach out to your territory manager if you want to demo one, and more than happy to do that. So, all right. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.